So, well, welcome to an art business workshop. And my name is Patrick. I run the marketing department here at Art Storefronts. Been doing that for, I think, going on like 7 years now. And, let's assume for a moment that on this Zoom call are, a wide range of different artists, right? And also that are watching the live stream. You've got artists in here, you've got photographers in here from every walk of life imaginable, every subject matter imaginable, different niches, different geographical locations, and likely from different countries in addition to the United States. Also varying levels of age and levels of experience, right? But let's also assume that everybody on this Zoom call is here because you want to better monetize your creative talents. And for some of you, that could be very well just selling your first piece. For others, it could be going from what was kind of a hobby into a legitimate side hustle. From others, the side hustle to something approaching a full time job, right? Or others they want to retire on their art. For many, you had a business that was going well pre-COVID, and COVID really just sort of threw a spanner in the works and destroyed a bunch of your revenue sources, right? So, as diverse a background as I find that attend these sessions, um, it turns out that there is one thing that unites all of you, and this is the case on every single solitary call. Every one of you has a marketing problem. Every one of you does. Not only do all of you have that, it is the biggest single solitary problem every one of you have. If your business is a boat and it has holes in it, many of you are actually working on plugging the ones that are letting in a tiny amount of water instead of working on the only one that is bringing in a flood, which is the marketing problem. And how do I know that? I've been doing this for a long time now, and by this I mean, how do you apply modern marketing to the finicky and nuanced business that is selling art or photography online and off? And directly myself, I've sold hundreds of thousands of dollars of art this year through customer initiatives and marketing efforts that I've participated in. In addition to that, I talk to hundreds of you guys in a week, both customers internally on Zoom sessions, and then potential customers like you guys on these Zoom sessions. And then in addition to that, myself, my team, we study very closely all of your websites. Anyone that fills out a form that tells us they have a website, we go and look at the website. We look at your social accounts. We look at what little marketing that you are doing. And I've looked at thousands upon thousands upon thousands of websites of artists and photographers, assuming they actually do have them. In addition to that, we pile on the fact that we have 5,500 customers at Art Storefronts, and as a team, as a marketing team, we study their data pretty intently. And it's like we start with both the who, what, and how approach. The who, what, and how. Who are selling the most on the platform? Who are the most successful customers that we have? Always follow the success and laser in on that, right? What are they selling? How much? What is it? Is it originals or commissions or prints? What are the price points? What is the AOV, the average order value, right? And then we get into the how, like how do they sell it? Like the analytical data. What traffic sources? Were they running sales? Did it come from Facebook? Did it come from Instagram? Was it organic traffic? How many email subscribers do they have? And I think if when you combine all that, it gives us a pretty interesting feel on what are the things that you absolutely have to get right that you need to know in order to be successful in this business if you truly want to grow it year over year in be creating more income for yourself. And I would say the purpose of this presentation really is just to lay down some things in principle that we think are critically important, okay, things to know if you want to make it in this business, and call them a set of principles or premises or preconceived notions, whatever you want to call it. um, these are some things that you just absolutely have to get right, right? And before we can even cover things like your website or your marketing or price points or niche selection or branding or anything else, you sort of have to understand this. And there's this maxim that's forever been applied to investing that goes like, you don't have to get a whole lot right as long as you don't get a whole lot wrong, right? And the idea is that, okay, set aside some portion of your money for your entire working life. Don't make risky bets with it. Invest in a nice mutual fund. And by the time you're ready to retire, you're going to have a nice retirement account, right? You don't have to get a whole lot right as long as you don't get a whole lot wrong. Well, what I'm about to show you, based on our experience, is the same maxim for the art of photography business. If you want to make it in this business and you want to be successful and you want to see the business grow year after year after year, you actually don't have to get a whole lot right as long as you don't get a whole lot wrong. And this presentation sort of speaks to the whole lot wrong part. So I want to get into this. We'll do this first. It's a pretty quick presentation. A couple of programming notes before we dive into it. Throughout the presentation, I'm going to be mentioning some videos and some links and some PDFs and the like. And some of these links that we'll put in the chat so you can click on them if you're so inclined, but don't feel like you need to, because what happens is as soon as the presentation ends, because I have your guys' email addresses and I know who's on the session, I will send you the video recording of the session. So if you ever want to go back and watch it, or you missed it, or whatever the case may be, you came in late. In addition to that, all the links and videos and reports and PDFs, anything that I talk about, all of that will be in the email for you. So that's what I would say. Also, is the session rolls along, if you have a question and you want us to answer it after the fact, because it goes presentation and then we do Q&A on the back end, you can throw it into the chat if you like. There's members of my team in there that are seeing some of those, and they have the potential to answer them directly. Otherwise, I'll get to them when we get in the Q&A, but you can throw them in there and feel like you've got it off your plate. But let me show you sort of the presentation, and what I've created here to help explain this is what I call the art selling pyramid, sorry. And it really is the path to a successful art business in 2021 and beyond. And as you saw on the first slide, I stole it from Maslow's hierarchy of needs conceptually, right? And I don't know if you've seen this thing or not, but the idea is the bottom block of the pyramid is what you got to sort before you get to the next block and the next one, the next one. So in Maslow's pyramid, it's like, as human beings, we all have physiological needs. We all need to eat. We all need to sleep. You need to take care of those. Once you got those sorted, then you can put a roof over your head and safety and health and fitness, love, belonging, all of that, right? So the art business pyramid, the bottom block, it's attention. Attention is the currency of the land that we live in, okay? Attention is speaking to the number one problem every single solitary one of you guys have. The number one problem that every single solitary art storefronts customer has. It doesn't go away. The problem does not ever go away. But we live in a land in which attention is the currency of the land. With attention, you can do anything, i.e. continue to grow an art business year after year. Without it, you're not in the game. And it's just marketing. Like, attention comes in two forms, rented and owned. The rented attention is anywhere where you don't control the rules, social media followers. Then the owned attention is where you do, and that's snail mail addresses, email addresses, phone numbers. And I would love to tell you that in the world that we live in 2021, that the best art or the best photography wins, that it is a meritocracy on the talents of the artist or photographer in question, and it's not. It's not. Instead, it is a meritocracy on how good you are in your marketing, because the best art, the best photography does not sell the most. The best art or the best photography that gets seen sells the most. And no different than in Maslow's pyramid of the physiological needs being a daily quotidian need, the bottom block that you need to sort, eating and sleeping, you have to approach the need for you guys to market in the same fashion if you want to grow this business and be successful. It is the single solitary biggest problem. It's not even close, right? Like, marketing is everything if you want to grow a successful art or photography business. And I usually tell this story. It's a little annoying, but I like it because it'll yeah, whatever. If I was going to say, who are some of the most powerful women in the world, how would you answer that question? You know how I answer it? Kardashian Jenner sisters. Now, we can all make debates and argue about how these ladies went on obtaining the attention. What we can't is what they've managed to do with it. Every single solitary one of them has a 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 million, billion-dollar business, right? One of them just started a tequila company. It's doing 30 million year one. And I'd bring that up to say that those gals understand intrinsically the value, the currency of the world that we live in, which is attention, right? And if any of them wanted to start painting stick figures tomorrow or become a photographer tomorrow and start taking pictures, they would have a $10 million a year art business year one. Is that fair? No, it's not. But it speaks to attention just being the currency of the land. Critically important. The next part of the pyramid is the outer block and the inner block. The outer block is the business model. You don't have to get a whole lot right as long as you don't get a whole lot wrong. The business model is the biggest one in this entire thing. And you need to be selling direct. You need to be selling direct to the end consumer. You need to be selling direct to the end consumer such that you have the ability to market to that person in perpetuity, okay? Such that you have the ability to start building a collector list. And the collector list, an idea I originally took from this guy's book. His name's Weiland. He's the whale guy. According to who you talk to, the #1 best-selling artist in the United States. Apparently, it's not even close. And in there, Weiland defines a collector for him as someone that purchases an upwards of 8+ pieces of art from him in a year. Or not in a year, over the course of their lifetime. And so it could be anywhere from 8 to 50, right? And in the book, he talks about all the tactical things that he does to take care of these folks. He treats them like they're staying at the Four Seasons with him. Personal personal Christmas card every single solitary year. They get personal emails from him. He likes and comments on their social posts. He takes care of these folks. And he keeps putting out more work, and they keep coming back and buying more and more and more of it. And, just to give you an example, to keep the math quite simple, let's say you're coming out with 10 pieces in your new collection, your new series of photographs or paintings or whatever it is that you're doing. You're going to release that to the public on Wednesday. On Sunday, you email your collector list and you say, hey, collectors, thank you so much for your continued support. I just wanted to let you know I'm coming out with a brand new series I'm releasing to the public on Wednesday. Because you guys have supported me in the past, I wanted to let you see it before anyone else did. And you show them the collection. And what ends up happening is they buy, and they buy some small portion to start out with. Maybe it's 10%. 1 out of the 10 pieces gets sold to the collector list. And I've seen it go as high with our customers 50, 60, 70%, meaning 7 out of the 10 pieces that you just came out with are sold before the public can even see them. And it is fundamentally either the number 1 or number 2 most important metric in an art of photography business. The size, the health of a collector list. It is directly reflective of revenue potential of an art or photography business, whether you have a collector list, what size it is, and whether or not you're taking care of it. And, over the course of years and years and years of doing this, you learn how important it is. And you learn that the nature of this business, by which I mean, being an artist, being a photographer, being a creator, you're mostly solopreneurs, right? You don't have a sales staff. You don't have a marketing staff. It's you doing the creating. And then once the creating's done, it's incumbent upon you to go out there and do the sales, right? You work your butt off. You work really hard. You move the work. You get paid. You're essentially a commissioned salesperson, because whilst if you go out and sell it, you get paid. If you don't, the art doesn't magically get sold. You're just a commissioned salesperson, right? When you have a collector list and when you take care of the collector list, you go from being a commissioned salesperson to being a commissioned salesperson that has a base salary. You have a base salary. You get paid just for creating. You get paid just for getting out of bed and creating. That's essentially what it is. And it starts small. Maybe it's 10 or 20 or 30 grand a year, but then it just starts going up from there. Year over year, it gets bigger and better because you're taking care of these folks. And fundamentally, one of the most important things you could possibly understand between the business model and the collector list, you don't have to get a whole lot right as long as you don't get these 2 wrong. And I can't begin to tell you how many artists and photographers I've talked to that are in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, their 70s. They've been at this for a long time. They never understood the business model. They never kept a collector list. And despite the fact that they are at the top of their craft right now, they have no one to market or sell to. They are just a commissioned salesperson still. So it's critical you get this one correct. Critical. Once we understand that, we're working on our attention. We understand the business model. We're building a collector list. There are 3 ways to sell art. I believe every artist, every photographer needs to understand the 3 and needs to deploy the 3 when the situation is best suited. And the best way, the number 1 way to sell art of photography, you guys all know this. It's a trick question. It's in person, face to face. It always has been. It always will be. You always want to try to sell your art in that fashion if you can. I'm not teaching you anything you don't already know. The problem is that we are all of us geographically fixed on this planet. We have to sleep, and we can't have 15 conversations at once. The next way is on your website, right? So you need to have your art. It needs to be on a website. It needs to be presentable. They need to be able to purchase it, and it solves for all of those problems when you can't sell in person. The number 3 way, the newest way, okay, the most interesting advancement to this particular industry in forever. It is fundamentally changing the way that this business is run, and that is leveraging live video, no different than we are right now, in either a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-many. Okay, let's talk about the 1-to-1. Alistair, I'm going to pick on you because your camera's on. You're the brave one today. Let's say I'm following Alistair on Facebook, and he puts out a piece, and I'm on the couch watching TV, ignoring TV, looking at Facebook, and I follow him, and I see this piece, and I'm like, whoa, that thing's pretty awesome. My wife and I are remodeling a bathroom, so I show her this piece. Hey, honey, this is this artist I follow on Facebook. His name's Alistair. Look at this piece. Isn't it interesting? She's like, yeah, we got to talk to this guy. I'm like, I agree. So I go and send him a message on Facebook. I say, Alistair, my wife and I are remodeling the bathroom. We saw your latest piece. I was wondering, could we jump on a Zoom call and talk about the piece and maybe some sizes and some pricing? He goes, no problem, Patrick. When do you want to do it? We scheduled the Zoom call. Boom, we're jumped in the Zoom call. And he's showing me the piece, and he's merchandising it, and I'm getting to know him. And he's talking about his inspiration, and we're feeling a bond here. And then the next thing you know, we purchase the work. That is the 1-to-1 fashion, okay? Nobody's doing this. Almost no artists are doing this. No photographers are doing this. And fundamentally, we're seeing a shift in the industry where what people are starting to do is ask for it, and then not only that, let your customers schedule right into it, right? Like they can come onto your site, they can click book an appointment, they can click virtual art consulting call, they can schedule it, and you can tell the calendar when you have these little slots available, 30 minutes at a time, and then you go and jump in a Zoom call, right? Like almost no artists or photographers are doing this. And it is fundamentally changing the way that art is sold. That's one to one. Okay, that's one to one. There's even higher leverage opportunities to leverage video, and the one to many is this concept of a live art show. In this particular instance, you've got an artist. He's from Canada. He's my buddy Matthew. He is in his garage studio. He has some old inventory and pieces that he wants to sell. He is streaming this show to his personal Instagram or his business Instagram account, his personal Facebook page, his business Facebook page, and his YouTube account. And people are tuning in from all over. And he's showing the various different pieces, and they can leave comments. And this particular gentleman, over a 15-day period, ran 2 sales. Basement sale. No, it's not that one. That one was it that one? Oh, I know what I got to do here. Just bear with me. So here it was, basement sale 3, and then the other one that I just showed you. He sold 62 pieces for a little bit over 34,000 or 32,000 Canadian. He didn't have to leave his house. He retained all the information on his collectors, or his purchasers in this case, I should say. And there was no 50-50 commission split with the gallery. Phenomenal result. After we got those results, you know, I mentioned at the very top of this thing that we study success, right? And we always look like, how are they doing it? What have they done? What can we learn from it? How can we teach the rest of our customers what these particular people did? So in this case, when you have an event, 15 days, middle of COVID, $30,000 Canadian, say in total sales, it's like, whoa, okay, that's significant. That was a significant event that just conjured up out of thin air. There was no reason for the sale. He just ran the sale because he had this excess inventory. So the next question that we try to do is like, okay, what can we learn from it? Can we do it again? Can we duplicate it? And so we've since become sort of subject matter experts on this concept of the live art show, right? We have literally run hundreds of these things at this point in time. And each time we learn a little bit more, we get a little bit better, we refine our techniques. This particular show, this was on June 3rd of this year. Meg, painter in Kansas City, she was literally moving from one like retail studio space, not retail, but like an office studio space, that from one to another. And so she had a bunch of these extra pieces lying around and excess inventory. And there was like smaller stuff like color sketches and, you know, color studies and like literally things out of the sketchbook. And by the way, in this particular thing, she had 82 pieces in this show. And remember what I said about the collector list? She sold 46% of the show to her collector list before the show even started. The show was on a Wednesday. She emailed her collectors on a Sunday. 46% of the show gone. Boom. So she sold, I think, in total on this one, of the 82 pieces or whatever, 69 or 70 or 68, something like that, for a little over 13,000 US. And, you know, since then, we've run these things with every artist in every subject matter material in every part of the country, different niches, different price points, different perspectives, different sets of equipment, different internet bandwidth connections, different follower counts. Do you wear white gloves or do you not wear white gloves? Does it matter, right? Like these are the sort of things that we're figuring out at an alarming clip right now as we move. And I'll just tell you, this is so absolutely the future of selling art and photography. It's full stop. It's not even close. I've never seen anything like this in my entire career. This much art, this much photography moving. In one marketing initiative, one marketing effort. There's just, I mean, it's just been absolutely staggering. But don't take my word for it. We're just one data point at Art Storefronts, right? And we can circle back to it. Your industry is one that doesn't have a ton of reports. I like this one. There's 2 big ones. And it's these guys. So it's Art Basel and UBS Global. And then the other one is by this London insurance group called Hiscox Group. So they call it the Hiscox Report. So there's 2 a year. And, you know, as a disclaimer, these folks sort of only survey the top 1% of artists and photographers in the world, meaning all the ones that are making over 6 figures a year up to many millions. So you have to kind of take the information with a grain of salt. But this thing's called the Art Market Report. And they have like a PDF report that you can download. And then they also have this key findings section, which I love, okay? And they break it out and they give you these like fancy little graphs and everything else, which are kind of fun. It's a nice website. I mean, this is what online sales did in 2020 versus 2019. Hello, COVID bump. Hello, 10 years of e-commerce growth and market penetration truncated into like 6 weeks. But look at the start of chapter 5. So, and let me quote this. Chapter 5 looks at the online art market and the rapid evolution of sales in 2021. The chapter shows how the dealer sector shifted sales online in 2020 at the development of online viewing rooms, OVRs. And as you read the report and you go through, it talks about just how much work, how much art at the very top end of the market was moved as a result of OVRs. You know what an OVR is? It is a snooty acronym for a Zoom call. Okay? OVR, give me a break. Online viewing rooms. It's no different than what we're doing right here. Okay? It is the artist agent and maybe the artist or the gallery representative, and then the high net worth individual in the other room, and art is being sold. So my point is, it doesn't matter whether you're at the very, very top selling the highest caliber pieces it is, or you're just getting started and you haven't sold anything. This new way to sell art on photography by leveraging live video is the single biggest advancement that has happened in this industry in forever. It is fundamentally going to change absolutely everything, and I've never seen results even close. I've never seen anything like it. It's the most effective thing I've seen. And just to give you an idea too about how many different abstractions there are in this particular thing, like my same buddy Matthew, middle of the pandemic. So this was July of last year, so the year and change ago. He actually had a show in COVID that they let him run, right? And so the show was in a gallery. Obviously, not that many people could come. Social distancing, the masks, the whole thing. So show ran. Next day, what did we do? We fired up the live art show, walked his laptop, walked his phone right through it, and it's like you were in the show with him. He was talking about the various different pieces. You got to see the ones that had red dots on them that were already sold, right? People were asking questions in real time. And some of the art that did not sell on the opening night actually ended up selling as a result of this live broadcast. And his people that did not get to go to the show were just, they were overwhelmed and thrilled with him because they got to feel like they were really there. It is the next best thing. It is the next best way of selling art of photography. A tremendous amount of what we're investing in, technologically speaking, as a business, Art Storefronts, is how do we get better and better and better at this? What features and advancements can we add to make the running of these shows smoother and easier and higher leverage affairs, right? And let me show you. I've got one of my. So this, after you've run enough of these guys, these live art shows, by the way, you realize, like, okay, well, where are you going to direct people to buy? And how are you going to handle it? Two people want a piece at the same time? And how are you going to show when things are sold? And so, most importantly, how are you going to have a page that you can create in a very short period of time and have it up, running, and ready? And so what you're looking at here is one of our newest features, which is a live art selling page. And I designed this thing from scratch myself. It's my baby because I've run more of these shows than anyone. And there's nowhere to click up top. There's just a shopping cart and a share button. Nothing to click here. They got a title. You have some description. You can put the show, so that people that didn't attend live can see it. You have a grid of images. Okay, literally, I designed this so you can just take a folder, drop it, and one little upload button. It creates the entire grid of images. Do you see this? You don't even have to take high-res shots. Okay, these are iPhone photos of his photos that he was selling here. You can give them a title. You can give them a price. You can give them a size if you're inclined, a description, and then you have the Buy Now button. The minute someone hits the Buy Now button, there is a shopping cart, drawer, or whatever you call the thing. I don't even know what you call it in terms of technology. Why isn't mine loading? Let's see here. Oh, I know, because this thing's probably loaded up. It's been sitting here for a while. Hold on. So you click the Buy Now button, and this little cart slides out on the side. Boom. They can pay right there. They can use Apple Pay, Google Pay, Amazon Pay. And then the minute that the thing is purchased, it instantaneously goes to sold. And so what you have here is a page that you can redirect all of the people that are watching on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or your email list, however they're watching, and they can come and buy in real time or after the fact. And we just keep doing more and more and more on this particular format and exploring all the various different ways to run them. I'm not kidding when I say this, they are full stop the future. So we can talk more about those on the tail end if you like. But let's finish the pyramid. So after we understand attention is the currency of the land and we're working on our marketing, right? After we understand the business model and we're working on a collector list, after we understand the 3 ways to sell art, the top of the pyramid is everything else. It's absolutely everything else. If you have a retail gallery that's working and you're still getting income from it, fantastic. Keep that going, but it's got to be in addition to everything else in the pyramid that you're working on. So too with the online gallery, Etsy, Redbubble, Saatchi, Fine Art America, eBay, don't care, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, whatever, it doesn't matter. In addition to what you're doing in terms of attention, in addition to the business model, in addition to the 3 ways of selling art. And, you know, earlier I alluded to the fact that I've been doing this for a while. I alluded to the fact that I've talked to hundreds of you guys on a week in, week out basis. I mean, it's not hyperbole for me. I think I talk to more artists and photographers in a video format, group video format, than just about any other person on the planet. And what I realize is like how important perspective is in this entire equation. Routinely, week in, week out, I'm talking to people in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s, in their 70s, in their 80s, and probably like 10 times I've had people in their 90s on these Zoom calls. You know, this is not like a career where you retire at 60, right? You know, retire at 65 and get a gold watch. Turns out with your particular gifting, you're a creative for life. You're never going to want to stop doing this. In retirement, there's even bigger desire to do it. And I bring that up to say, like, contemplate how many decades left for most folks you have to do this, right? You have a lot of time to get the pyramid right. And I understand a whole lot of you have not, okay? I understand a whole lot of you do not have your art up on a website, are not marketing consistently. I mean, let's be honest, almost none of you are marketing consistently. I don't even need to ask you. I already know, okay? I already know. You're not running sales. You're not doing all the things you need to do to grow a business, and that's totally okay, okay? What is the best time to plant an oak tree? 30 years ago. When is the next best time? Today. And please don't take that as a sales pitch. Don't take any of this as a sales pitch. The pyramid doesn't matter if you get your website from Art Storefronts and you get your marketing from Art Storefronts and everything else, or you do it on your own. But understand, it is fundamental to whether or not you're going to make it in this business long term, and whether or not something like COVID can come along and completely crush you, or it is an opportunity in which you probably had the best year in your entire life. And that's what this comes down to. That's how fundamental that pyramid is. So you don't have to get a whole lot right as long as you don't get a whole lot wrong. And for me, that pyramid is just so important. And I feel like even if you've just seen that and you start nodding your head on that, and you're like, okay, I've got to get my acting gear, and I need to start today, and I understand all of the things that I need to start doing, which we'll get into more. You're going to be in such a better place, and just have the perspective of how long it's going to take. It might take you a couple of years to get going on your marketing, and especially when you just get started. I know you guys hate marketing. I know you don't want to do marketing. I know you wish someone could just do all of it for you and you would just create. But guess what? If the one thing you want to do the least, where do you think the highest ROI is? ROI is return on investment. It is absolutely doing that marketing. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. At this point, we will open things up to Q&A. If you're one of the brave ones, and there's only 2 today, Marianne and Alistar, if you guys have a question, you can raise your hand the old-fashioned way, okay? And I'll see it, and I'll know. For everyone else, there is a reactions button at the bottom of the Zoom bar. It's like a little face with like a plus on it. And what that allows you to do is raise your hand digitally. You can see I just did it. And that sort of gives me a cue and lets me know, like, hey, this person has a question. And, you know, we can unmute your mic, and you can literally ask about anything. Anything that we do as a business, the live art shows, what traffic sources are working, branding, niche selection, a gallery relationship, photographing your art, anything marketing related, anything at all. Love to get into any and all of it. And if you don't want to turn your camera on, you don't have to turn your camera on. Okay, I hate being on video. I totally get it if you don't want to be on video. So you can certainly ask via audio, and then you can throw your questions in the chat as well. And like I said, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or what's the other one? I'm having a blank. Maybe I covered them all. I see your comments. I see your questions. So how you doing, Robert? How you doing, Yonita? I will get into your question in just a sec. So that's what I've got. And I should say, you know, independent of everything else, while you guys are contemplating questions, it's 32 days left until the start of Q4, till October 1st. Q4, non-COVID times anyway, for a great many of our customers, they will sell more art in one quarter, the last 3 months of the year, than the other 3 combined in many cases. And Black Friday, Cyber Monday, some of the sales that precede that, the run up to Christmas, it's the best time. It's the best time to be selling art of the year. It is that way every single solitary year. So if you've been paying any attention to anything that we do in a marketing capacity, all we do is we just bang the drums nonstop, incessantly. Q4 is coming, Q4 is coming, Q4 is coming. And if you rewind the clocks and you go back to what we were doing last year, guess what we were doing last year? The exact same thing. And guess what the year before? The exact same thing. And guess what we're going to be doing next year at this time? The exact same thing. Because for us, The most difficult thing, the biggest problem you guys all need to solve is your marketing. And as it turns out, just because our customers become customers doesn't mean we have to start we can never stop banging the drum on them too, because the one thing you don't want to do is market. None of you want to market ever, and certainly not consistently. But doing a little bit of marketing right now, whether you sign up with us or not, doing a little bit of marketing right now and getting ready, okay, for Q4 and at least having a sale in the water is the minimum, bare minimum that you need to do, bare minimum that you guys need to do. Okay, Mick Wood Design 34. Just reply with a comment, Mick Wood Design, and I'll look up your email. I'll have my team look up your email, and we'll make sure that you don't miss it. Don't worry. And the sale ends. He's asking about the sale. The sale ends tomorrow, the end of the month, and then we go and do full blown Q4 marketing time. But yeah, guys, questions? I feel like somebody's got to be brave, and the fact that you three have your cameras on, you three are going to have to be the ones I'm going to pick on. Okay, Marianne's got one. Marianne's got one. I'm going to unmute you, Marianne. Bottom left-hand corner.
All right. So I'm 45 years old.
Okay.
I've always been a creative. Mm-hmm. I studied interior design in school, but I have never given painting my full attention until this last year.
Okay.
And I'm sort of like, I bought a couple of canvases, about 10. I was like, I'm going to just see what happens. And then I'm going to figure out what to do after that. Okay. Now I'm at that point where I'm like done and I'm absolutely freaking out. What's my next step? What should I be doing? I guess I'm just sort of looking for some good direction.
Yep.
This book sounds amazing. Is there anything else that you can offer me at this point?
Yes. So problem number one, when you're just getting started like you, is we have to sell our art to people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, family, friends. Okay. These people will lay down an oncoming traffic for you. Okay. So we cannot use those as a benchmark. Ultimately, what you have to determine is, do you have a product the market wants? If you have a product the market wants, i.e. it sells to strangers, then you can worry about your next problem, which is get going on your marketing. At that point in time, you have a marketing problem. Until then, you have a validation problem. So the easy way to do it, depending on where you live, depending on what COVID is and such, is a booth somewhere. Or it can be like set up a table somewhere illegally and put your art on it where a bunch of people are coming in and out. I know it sounds scary, but a farmer's market or somewhere like that where you can get some honest feedback. Now, that would be the easiest way to do it in pre-COVID times. Now with COVID, sometimes it's easier to just grab this, okay? Go to the social platform that you have the most following on and turn the thing on and be like, guys, it's me, Marianne, 45, okay? All I've always wanted to do was be an artist. I finally decided to buy some canvases and go for it. And guess what I'm doing? I'm selling all of them. So if you want to help me get my art career kickstarted, I'm going to show you some pieces, talk about what the prices are. If you're interested, send me a DM on Instagram or send me a message on Facebook. You can hold this thing and just do it. That's it. Done. And do it like 3 or 4 times. And is it cheating a little bit? Yes, it is cheating a little bit because your friends and family are going to be the ones that are going to see it, right? But at the same time, it's a great way to get started. And sort of the takeaway, okay, and it's an important one. And I'm going to take it out of art for a second. You and I are both chefs, and we've always wanted to be restaurateurs, right? And we're like, okay, screw it, let's do it. Let's go for it. And you're the smart one, and I'm the dumb one. Okay, I'm the inexperienced one. So you know what I do? I spend like 6 weeks working on a business plan. And then I take the business plan down to the bank and I spend like 4 weeks hammering it out with the bankers on how to get a loan. And then I go running around town, find a spot. And then I'm working on the decor and I'm hiring a maitre d' and I'm leasing the equipment and I'm putting the sign up and I'm getting ready for opening night. And then I go and do opening night and guess what happens? Turns out my food is crap and no one likes it. So no one comes back. Do you know what you did? You're like, I'm about on page 6 of my business plan, and you went to Costco, you went and got a rolling cart, you pushed the rolling cart into the bottom of an office building with your tacos, put up a little sign that said Marianne's Tacos, and turns out you had a line around the door. Your tacos were that good, And guess what? You found out in 48 hours that you really have a product the market likes, right? Or alternatively, you take your burgers down there and nobody wants your burgers. So you're like, you know what? I'm not going to do my burgers. And then the next day you go into a different office building with your tacos. And all of a sudden the landlord is like, these things are insane. My people are so happy. Come back again, right? So do you see what happened there? Rather than going in on a hope and a prayer and working on your business plan, which would be signing up and getting a website and putting your art up and starting to do that, like you need to shortcut it and get the feedback immediately. Like, will this stuff sell? If it sells, then you just go into your marketing. That's it.
Okay.
Trust me, I've been doing this for a while. I know. That's what you got to do.
All right. I'll definitely put that into action.
Yeah. And there's lots of creative ways to hack it too, right? Like if you have a friend, and I realize it's terrifying at first for most people, but if you have a friend that lives on like a major thoroughfare, right? Like open the garage on a Saturday, go and get a bunch of stuff up on easels and put it in the front yard or put it in the driveway and just sit there and see how many conversations you have and see whether or not if it sells. It sells, you're in business. You're in business.
All right. Yeah, I could do that. I'm in Seattle, so it's kind of locked down.
Yeah. So use the cell phone.
It's been a tough summer.
Yeah. Use the cell phone.
Okay.
And we'll send you some links, give you some ideas, but it's the beautiful thing. Like you turn the camera on and you be dead honest. Be like, guys, I'm trying to start my art career. Here's my pieces, and no reasonable offer will be refused. Quote what you want to quote, and then say, send me a DM. You take PayPal, you take Venmo, checks, whatever. Ready to roll.
Okay.
Good?
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. And thanks for being first, the brave one. Bob's asking like, what are you selling here exactly? Bob, I think Bob probably missed some of the presentation. I'll unmute you, Bob. I think it's a fair question. You're unmuted, Bob. All you have to do is hit the mic in the bottom left.
Okay.
So I'm totally curious. I don't know what time you came in, but what do you think we sell, just out of curiosity?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously it's art, but you're not selling art.
No. Were you on the presentation from the very beginning?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So
I got in the middle of the pyramid.
Okay, you got in the middle of the pyramid. Okay, good. So I might as well take a stab at answering that directly, right? So we started out as a website company, websites for artists and photographers to sell their art. They're set up completely to sell art, all the bells, all the whistles, right? It's not a marketplace. The artist owns everything, right? So it's your shop, your URL, your merchant account, and we empower you to be in business at your own location, essentially, right? And what we realized early on is artists and photographers don't have website problems. They have marketing problems. So we started to go tackle that thing. We realized as a company, we were never going to grow. We were never going to get anywhere unless we had successful customers. And the only way we were going to have successful customers if we could somehow teach them and get them to market. So we are one part website and one part postgraduate university that teaches advanced art and business marketing. Except there's no graduates because the learning never stops, essentially. And that's what we do. So we set you up with a website, all the infrastructure to sell your stuff online, and then we teach you how to do it all year long.
But that girl who was on before in video, you told HUD. I got dogs.
Yeah, it's okay. I got dogs too.
You told HUD to do like a market day or so, a flea market.
Yeah. So her situation is a little bit different, and she just got started like in the last 6 months, and she's never really sold her art to someone before. So she needs to figure that out before she starts talking next steps, right? And so I'm assuming you've probably sold your art before. Is that correct?
No.
So you're in the same boat.
Yeah. I mean, I got some photographs and I cut glass and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm sure you heard what I said to her. That sort of the same.
Yes.
Yeah. It holds true to everybody, right? Like you have to determine you have a product that the market wants. Once you have determined that you have a product that the market wants, then you're ready to start marketing it. But until you do, marketing it can be a huge waste of time if you're not properly like committed, right? Like,
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. You gotta find a way to get it out to people not named, like I said, mom, dad, brothers.
So if she gets it out or I get it out to people, then you come back to you.
Exactly right.
To set up a website.
Yep, exactly right.
Okay.
It's just the shortest path to success, right? And like what everyone comes on these things and tells me, which I love, is like, you know, many of you had art or photography classes in college, right? And art history in the majors, and you in the masters, and learned about the periods and everything else. No one ever teaches you the practical business techniques or how to actually monetize your creative talents, right? That's what we do, and we've seen enough of it that it's like that's what needs to happen. But you go and when you do go and study the masters, like Picasso got interviewed when he was like in the peak of his career, and it was like a young charcoal artist was like asking for advice. He goes, early on, my work did not command high prices, but it all sold. Your art needs to move out into the world, right? And that was his advice to this guy, to like go and attempt to sell. Do you know what else though? When Pablo Picasso died, okay, he had 45,000 pieces of unsold work in his inventory. 45,000. This guy could have sold his signature on a piece of Kleenex for $1 million at the end of his career, right? And what everyone fails to understand in that process, and this is as true for you as it is for, was it Marianne earlier, I think? Just because you attempt to sell one particular type of art and it either does or it doesn't, it's not the end of the world if it doesn't. That's just the market telling you that they don't want that particular thing. So what did Picasso do? He fired a bunch of arrows. A lot of those arrows weren't bullseyes. Did he let him derail his career? Or did he quit? No. He put that thing in inventory and he went out and worked on something else, right? And that's how he hit upon all of his excellent series in periods. So that's the long and the short of it.
Yeah, well, I had a corporate career. I didn't have any art background.
Yeah.
But I've been doing it all my life, different types of art.
Yeah.
You know, and now I want to I'm retired, so I do it all day long.
Yeah, that's the beauty. Like, you know, being retired, and we have a ton of people that are retired. We have a ton of people that are still working their day job and they want to retire on it, right? Like, and have it be their like main location. But you got a ton of time to spend to work on the marketing, to work on everything else, which is awesome, right? But you also have to have the desire to want to learn that stuff, right? And you know, sometimes in retirement, it's a delicate balance, right? Like, you know, you primarily have to decide. You know, you worked your whole life and it was awesome, and now you're in retirement. Do you want a hobby in retirement or do you want a business, right? You have to decide that. It's not an easy question.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
You know, but it's something, you know, I'd like to pursue.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got, and like I said, you got all kinds of time. I mean, you didn't.
Yeah. I mean, being retired is not the greatest thing in the world. I mean, you could sit around and do crossword puzzles on your couch all day, or you get out and be creative.
I hear that.
And I've been fortunate enough to have a natural creation. You know, I've cut glass, I sandblasted glass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do glass etchings, stuff like this. I did woodworking.
Yeah.
You know, so I've done a lot of different things. So I want to start getting it out there and see if I could sell it.
Okay.
So that's it.
All right. We'll get going. Get going on that selling. The same advice applies.
Yep. And I'm 79 years old.
Yeah. You didn't hear me at the probably the very beginning, but I've been running these things 3 days a week since before the pandemic hit. So you're a good, healthy year and change. I've had probably 25 people in their 90s show up on these calls asking for advice. And you know, it's the amazing thing that I said. It's like, you know, there's a lot of people that retire and they don't ever want to go do whatever they did as a job ever again. They're done with that, right? But with art, with art in this like creation process, it just never ends. It never ends. Like, you'll always be doing this, right? Like, for the rest of your life, and you're always going to be potentially selling. And you know, I use that to underscore the perspective of timing, right? Like, you have your whole rest of your life to do this, right? And you know, it could be a long, long time. So when you understand that, you're like, okay, it actually is worthwhile for me to put in the work, right? And learn some marketing and get going on all these things that I don't necessarily want to do, because all you want to do is just create and have somebody else sell it, right? But yeah, that's sort of the advice.
It doesn't matter how old you are. You just want to keep learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And it gives you something to do.
Yeah. Probably more fun than crossword puzzles on the couch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, unless that's your thing. But all right.
All right.
Thanks, Bob. And I love the I love the blunt comment, like, what are you selling here? What's going on? All right, Steven, you're up next. Go ahead.
Hey, Patrick, thanks for taking my call and for being there.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I'm kind of nervous about having this conversation because, frankly, I don't really know what I've got here or what I should be doing with it.
Okay.
Here's a little bit about my story. I'm in my 70s. I retired from my work doing philanthropy planning, which I did for more than 20 years.
Family office or an institution or what?
Yeah, for a science research institute.
Got it.
That I loved. It was very creative, working with scientists and trying to explain what they do. And I did a lot of marketing in that, and did a lot of ugly PowerPoints. Got tired of doing ugly PowerPoints.
Oh God, the worst.
Started to do my own illustrations for that. I had a chance to write a book, and in the process of writing, I found that doing sketches and illustrations would help me move from one idea to the next. And I actually had a publisher who asked me to do this. Otherwise, I never would have done it. But people said they would see what I was talking about or see my stuff, and they would say, well, why don't you write a book? And finally, somebody asked me to write a book, so I had to do that. And when I showed him the drafts and stuff, he said, now some of the editors wanted to take all those sketches and stuff out. He wanted to put them in. So what happened was that stuff moved from the margins to the page. And a couple of years ago, right before COVID started, I started to do like a second edition, and I started sketching and writing and drawing again. And then during COVID, the sketches took over. So now I have, not related to the book or philanthropy, but I have like hundreds of sketches of portraits and people and places and things, just sketching all the time on my iPad. I would start with an image or a photograph or something that I could create myself. So I kind of did that when I was doing the PowerPoints. I wanted, not to be paying for other people's stuff or stealing. So I just did my own images, and I did the same thing with this. And I started to draw on them, and then they morphed into other stuff. And I would just figure out what to leave out and what to put in, and use all kinds of colors, not a lot of levels or layering, just a very simple drawing and sketch program. And people look at my stuff and they think it's like watercolors or pencil sketches or what, but it's all digital. So it can be scaled, and it kind of left me with a production problem because I like to see what it is that I'm making in a physical medium, not just on a screen. So I would start printing stuff and making these poster size things where you take like 4, 5, 6 pages and you spread the image over large, or I would go to Staples and have it made up. In poster sizes. So there were some health facilities that were opening up new offices that were looking for local artists. So I brought my stuff in and they liked it. They put it up on their walls. I wouldn't say that's actually selling, but the book, getting stuff in the book is sort of an experience. I've been to some pop-up shows. There's a lot of interest in conversations, but people don't buy at those things. They weren't very well attended. So it wasn't that my stuff was good or bad, but people have an interest in my stuff, and they send me pictures of their pets and their animals and their kids and their grandchildren and all this stuff. So I make a lot of stuff, and I'm always working. So I have a couple of issues. What is this? What am I making? It's not photography. It's not art. It's sort of sketch photography, art blown up every size. Yeah. And you can edit and crop and do all kinds of stuff with it technically. I'm not really sure what it is that I have. I have like production issues because I like things much bigger than they come out if you could just print them at home. Although I print them at home and I mat them nicely, I put backing on them, I wrap them up. Some of them I frame, I carry stuff out with me to places. I like marketing, but I don't like business. I see that you have some services where you can print and manufacture and ship and do like all that kind of work that I can't do to a larger audience. So if I had something digital, you could make it any size.
Yes.
Present it in multiple ways to people that would fit what they want.
Yes.
I just don't know what it is I have. Maybe you could tell me.
Yeah, I mean, I think like,
candidate for what you do.
Yeah, I don't think you need to worry about so much what you have. Like, do you have a business, right? Like, are you selling the commissions? Are you charging for the commissions? And then are there any pieces that you've created where people are willing to buy more than willing to buy the original, right? And like several people buy the original. Has that already happened or not really?
Yeah, well, I don't know, is there an original when you do, this is all
Yes.
digital, so, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
when I say original, I mean like, you know, the commissions are the commissions, right? I get the commission portion of the business. That's fine. The rest of the art, like because it's digital, you can just sell prints. Like you can do limited editions, or you could call it an original if you're so inclined. But if those are selling as well, then it sounds like you have a business on your hands, and yeah, you need to start marketing. But I don't know if you're selling or if you're just giving all these things away, or what does that look like?
some of both,
Some of both. Well, you have
yeah,
sold some.
yeah.
Okay. Do you want to turn it into a business?
I guess I want people to see my stuff and have a
Yeah.
chance to um, own it if they want to.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not really sure what to do with it. Maybe you should look at it and tell me if you think there's potential there or something.
Aha. Therein lies the trap, though, right? Um, you know, we all think like, hey, and I get this all the time. Hey, well, why don't you just take a look at my art and see what you think, see if it's good enough? And I instantaneously reply, I can't. I'm just one person. I don't know. There's only one person that can tell you whether your stuff is good, and that is the almighty credit card coming out of the almighty wallet or purse and buying it. Right? That's the market telling you have a product. Right? Like otherwise, you know what I always say to people is like, you know, and understand we are monomaniacally focused on making artists and photographers successful, turning it into a business, right? I'm not casting dispersion if somebody wants to have a hobby or just have their art be seen, whether that's your case or not. But you know, here are the varietals of it. I make my work and I get all kinds of likes and comments and shares in the social media sites, right? Um, I've been in 10 different juried art shows. My photography has won 3 or 4 different awards at various different fairs. And I say to those people, and I'm just going to use an example, Stephen, if I drove to your house right now, picked you up, and we drove down to the ATM, is there a button on the ATM machine that says likes, comments, and shares? Is there a button on the ATM machine that says my work was in a juried show, or everyone tells me my work is beautiful? Like, no, there's not, right? And there's not because that's all nonsense, right? It is not fundamentally the market wants what you have. So you sort of need to decide if you want to have a business. If you want to have a business and you want to work at it, and it sounds like you have the initial interest, then we can help you do that significantly. And you know what you do is fun in the sense that when you do digital, it's very easy to create, right? You have high quality, high resolution files that can be scaled up, scaled down very easily. And you know, it's a very easy thing to create a bunch of different products on. So that's a fun way to approach it.
Mm-hmm. So if there's some things from the hundreds that I have that um, should be on a site and they were marketed and they were sold, how how do you then convert them into product that the person could have?
Yeah, so it's pretty easy. I mean, what we do essentially is just POD, print on demand, right? And it's print on demand for either, you know, wall art or for merchandise too, because we integrate with some merchandise partners. And for us, it doesn't matter. It's like however you want to do it, right? Like you can sell prints, so you could sell on any media type you want, right? Frame prints, canvas prints, metal prints, paper prints, all of that. And then you can sell the merch stuff too. We've got puzzles and calendars and coffee mugs and you know all the rest of it too. So
You like you fulfill the orders.
not us, we have fulfillment partners, but yeah, the way
Right.
that it works is like you get a website, you get a merchant account, you tie it to your bank account, and an order comes in, you get paid, printer gets paid. Printer prints the order, boxes the order, slaps your logo on the side of it, ships, you touch nothing. You touch nothing at all. And the reason that we do that is printing and wasting your time on printing is a waste of time. There's no value to it. You doing that stuff and you doing the admin is not going to fundamentally grow the business because remember, the biggest problem is the marketing, right? Got to solve the marketing.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think attracted me to what you were doing, that I'm spending a lot of time making things other than the art. I have to print them because I don't know what they look like until they are out there.
Yeah.
In some form or other. And that fulfillment part of it, and whether someone wants it framed or what kind of paper they want it,
Exactly.
size
Exactly.
they want it, that's all that your partners do. That you also do the business side of that, the billing and the shipping and the taxes.
Yeah,
and
the
that stuff?
system. Yeah, the system handles 100% of that. You don't have to do any of that. I mean, the taxes is a little bit different, but the taxes are not a problem. We've got systems for that too. So all of that is sorted. You know, the only thing you have to do is create the works, put them up, and then do the marketing. That's it. But we teach you that, like I said, all year long. What I would do next step as you're deciding is sign up for a demo. It's essentially the test drive process. It's with somebody on our outreach team, and they'll show you all the bells, all the whistles. You can ask all the questions about pricing, see a tour of the whole software, all the marketing, everything else, completely customized to what you want, and then you can make up your mind if you want to do it. But I think for you, you just have to decide if you want to do the marketing work and you want to create a business. If you can, we can help you do that.
Is this something that you say that some people can do this, kind of move from a hobby to a low-level business? Other people are very established and they lost their business during COVID, but they're all ready to go. I'm really kind of at the beginning phase. Is this still something that I could be doing with you?
Oh, 100%, 100%. Yeah, like I said, the only thing that matters really is that you have a product that the market wants, right? So like in Bob's case and Marianne's case, like they have to go and validate that someone's going to buy their stuff. Once people are buying your stuff, not named mother, father, sister, brother, you just have a marketing problem at that point. And you'd be surprised. Like everyone's pretty much starting at the same point in time. Like even these people that have been at this for their entire career, if they didn't build a collector list, right, and they were just selling in a gallery for 40 years, they don't have any idea who bought their work. They've never done any active marketing. They might be starting, they sold a bunch through the gallery, but guess what? They haven't done any more marketing that you have. So you guys are essentially starting at the exact same time, exact same place, right? So you have to build for the business that is the modern paradigm of building and running one of these businesses. And so they're starting in the exact same place you are. That's it. Like if you like marketing, you'll have a heads up. You'll have a head start, right? Because you've done some of it. And I cannot begin to tell you either. Like it so needs to be said. And so Shopify, this company Shopify, they offer an e-commerce solution. It's the biggest company in the world in terms of market cap for Canada, biggest Canadian company. And they have this stat that says like 99% of Shopify store owners fail. And it's not a knock on Shopify. Their technology is amazing. The company is amazing. Their marketing is amazing. It just speaks to the fact that like everyone thinks that they have a website problem. No one has a website problem. You cannot have the website problem until you fix the marketing problem, right? And while I think the opportunity to be an artist, to be a photographer in today's day and age is incredible, why I think the industry is going through its Netflix blockbuster moment, its Uber taxi cab moment, right? Like the old exploitative 50-50 split with the gallery. The gallery keeps all the information on the collectors. Like that is tenant farmer stuff. I mean, that is utterly, totally, and completely exploitative, and that business model is getting obliterated. COVID made it massive, massive help. You still have to do the marketing. And the marketing is no different than anything else. It's muscles, right? It's like trying to do 100 push-ups in one sitting. You're not going to get there overnight. And the first year sucks. I have to teach you how to capture emails. Then I have to teach you how to email the emails. Then I have to teach you omni-channel marketing and how to post on the socials and how to run a sale and tease a sale, what to do during the sale, how to run a live art show. But once you figure it out, year over year, the business grows. As long as you put in the consistent work, year over year, the business grows. And it's a pretty rad feeling because yes, it is real income. And yes, it is going to grow year over year. And yes, it is something you can do for the rest of your life. So there's a lot of upside to it, but you have to do the marketing, right? You have to do the marketing.
Well, one thing I know about marketing is that it can be all consuming. You can never do enough if that's what you're trying to do. Is there a way that you can kind of meter out how much you want to do? And I'm not really saying how much success you want to have, but
you can, but it's
like Bob or like me.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than exercise, right? Like, how much exercise do you want to do versus how much do you actually need, right? Like to keep your level of fitness. Like, you still have to do it consistently, right? Like, you can't take a month off completely and expect that you're going to be fit, right? Like, you still have to go out and do something. So that's what I would say. Exercise is a good way to think about it.
One more question, and I'd like for somebody else to have a chance. What you're doing right now is really pretty amazing in my book, that you're here talking to me and everybody else who wants to.
Yeah.
How do you manage to personalize this for me or somebody else who's on the call now who decides to come in? And we're all coming in at different levels. I'm coming in at a low level, but I probably need.
You're actually, believe it or not, all coming in at the same level. Like if I took a subsection of 1,000 artists, okay, and let's say 1,000 signed up, 950 out of the 1,000 would all be at the same level. 50, some would have some sophistication. But I got to tell you, this is like the wild thing about this business is there are so many factors that go into it. Niche selection, subject material, right? What type of an audience that targets, the personality of the artist, and you know, we constantly study the data. It's not hyperbole, like literally deep dives on everything, because I constantly just want to see, part of my job is like, you know, to set the entire marketing program for all these various different customers, like, you know, exactly the question you're asking me. And what's so mind-boggling is the more you try to extract a formula out of it, the more you just get slapped in the face about how that'll never work here. And for instance, like, I've got a guy that's got over 1 million followers on Instagram, okay? And I've got a gal that has 5,000 followers on Instagram. They have the same size email list. And the gal outsells the guy 25 to 1. 25 to 1, it's not even close. How do you explain that, right? How do you explain that? Everyone sort of just has a different journey and a different path. But the reality is that fundamentally this business is about normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale, rinse and repeat. That is what it is, year in and year out. And so you just learn that stuff, and it starts at beginner, medium, and advanced, and it doesn't change. And followers fundamentally are built one follower at a time. Emails, one email at a time. And so you start wherever you start. It's really the same playbook for everyone. Everyone is just learning marketing and learning how you run one of these businesses. And so it doesn't matter what state you come in, right? Like we have programs for all. It's the same program essentially. And you know, you get on, you start learning, and you level up as you go. That's how it is.
If I do this, do I have to kind of give over my life to my entire life to the project and not, you know, not see my grandchildren or anything?
No, what you have to do. So the reason that like all artists and photographers fail, in my experience, doing this on their own, is they treat their marketing like they treat their New Year's resolution to get into the gym and get fit. Okay. And they're like, this is going to be my year. I'm going to get fit, right? Come January 1, right? And you're kind of swinging, getting a little loose in the turns in December, because you know January you're going to take it serious, right? And what ends up happening? And again, the gym is your marketing, right? This is going to be my year. And for that first month in January, you're going 3 days a week. You're sweating it out. You're doing awesome in there. And then February, things get a little cold. And then you're going from 3 days a week down to 2 days a week. And then by March, you're going like twice a month. And then you give up completely, right? And so that's the way all artists and photographers approach it. They are like, this is going to be my year. I'm going to do a little bit, and then I'm going to quit. And that none of them have the perspective of how long it takes to actually do this. And so to answer your question in terms of the timing, it actually doesn't matter how much time you give it. It's writing the check for 52 weeks a year. You have 2 hours a week to work on your marketing? Fine, I'll take the 2 hours a week. But you're giving me 52 weeks this year. 52 weeks, okay? And you're not stopping. And that's really what we are at the end of the day. Like, you know, to stay on the fitness thing, like, you know, you can post the workouts and I can email them to you, or I can like show up at your front door and scream and yell at you in a bullhorn like a trainer would, right? That's what you need to keep you accountable and keep you going. So what ends up happening is everybody makes a value judgment on how much time they have to spend on their marketing. And some people at the low end is only an hour or 2 a week. Some people are retired, you know, like in Bob's case, and say like, I'm willing to give it 15 hours a week. Whatever it is, through poking and prodding and peer pressure and group learning like this, because we put all of our customers into Zoom sessions and teach on a weekly basis, we keep you accountable and we keep you working on it. And what I always find is there's no magic number for how quick the business is or how quick you're going to earn ROI or whatever. It's totally different for everybody. But what happens is that, let's just say you're giving me 2 hours a week. Like around the third or fourth month, you'll get some sort of a win. And it could be your first sale. It could be, you know, $1,000 sale. It could be you got featured in a magazine. And what I find is that has a way, whatever that first win is, and the subsequent wins that come along, of refilling the emotional reservoir, right? And once the emotional reservoir is filled up, you start working harder at it, and you just naturally kind of find where you want to be, right? And that's how it goes. So I go back to the perspective, like, you know, I always use this example. I like riding motorcycles, right? And I love riding motorcycles. And I live in Southern California. And there's this place in the bottom right-hand corner of California, 5 minutes to Mexico, 5 minutes to Arizona, and it's the sand dunes. And it's where they film. I don't even want to talk about it, but you ride the motorcycles out there in the sand. It's awesome. Okay, this used to be like a 4-hour drive, right? And I had in my head it was a 4-hour drive. I know how it is. So fast forward, you know, 10 years later, I have a couple of kids. I don't get to go and do that as much anymore, right? But you know what I do now? I go to my mother-in-law's house, okay? My mother-in-law's house is on the way to this 4-hour drive, but it's about half the distance. And I find that on that 4-hour drive, you used to just go the whole time, no problem at all. So excited to get there, everything else. Now, when I go to my mother-in-law's house, okay, I'm like an hour and a half into the drive and I start squirming around going, am I there yet? Am I there yet? Am I there yet? And I'm always like, well, why am I doing that? I used to be able to do the 4-hour drive, no problem. And the reality is it's perspective, right? You're always going to start fidgeting if your perspective is that you're only going to get there in an hour and a half. So why do I say all that? I say, if you could say, I want to build a business, I'm willing to commit a couple of years, I'm going to market consistently, you'll make it. You'll make it. You'll make it. The score will take care of itself. It's just doing the right things, staying focused on them, and doing it consistently.
Patrick, thanks for your time. I'll yield back the remainder of my time so somebody else can talk, okay? Thank you. Really helped.
I love I'll yield back the remainder of my time. It's fantastic. Good stuff. Yeah, we can help you, Stephen. We'll have somebody reach out and just do the test drive on the software, and you can see kind of where it goes from there. What about the rest of you? Questions? Nuna? Alistair? Do you have one, Nuna? I'll unmute you. Okay, then I'll get you next, Alistair.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Hi.
Hi.
So I am a daughter of a world-renowned artist.
Awesome.
And I am a photographer in my own hobby time, and you know, my time will come. But right now, I'm focusing on making his retirement as amazing as possible. I cherish and adore him. But I definitely have to admit that we have been struggling financially, and that's what's caused us to not sign up. And I just wish that there was some sort of way that we could work out like a payment plan that just wouldn't scare him away, because he's very frugal with his money, and I totally respect that. But I haven't like unsubscribed to you guys. I really believe in your company, and I signed up for this meeting to just take notes, but it really boils down to, you can't get all the secrets unless, you're willing to invest. And I totally respect that.
It's less
so
about
maybe we can talk
secrets.
about some sort of like
Yeah.
an arrangement, because like if you see our social media, he has had plenty of magazine articles. He just won an award for the Taos Fall Arts Poster Artist of our large town of Taos, New Mexico. It's really his time. He's really shining, and he should be a millionaire by now. We should have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of followers. And I feel like I'm slightly failing him, but he really believes in me and he really trusts me. And I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to keep researching about marketing and try to figure out.
Is it your dad, Nuna?
Build him up. What's that?
Is it your dad?
He is. Yes.
Okay.
He's raised me since I was born. And
got it. And how old is he now?
He is going to be 70 in December, so he's 69.
Yeah.
And
where is he selling now? Is he in a bunch of galleries?
No, he's, like I said, he's really frugal about getting involved with anybody that's going to take too much percentage. He used to sell at El Milagro Gallery, though, a few years back, and they have a lot of his pieces on their website that's still online, even though they're not physically there anymore. They sold it, and they're ranchers now and all that, but they're big collectors of his. And
so did he was his entire career, was he a working artist?
Yeah. I mean, he just finished a novel on his mother's life. It's on Amazon, and we're trying to market it as much as possible. It's a really beautiful book, and he has an investor that wants to invest in reprinting an old children's book that he did that's absolutely phenomenal, Taos Pueblo Painted Stories. And so he's a writer, he's an author, he's a painter, and he's a father. And I definitely just don't want to give up on trying to work something out with you guys. So
okay.
I'm willing to put in the legwork. I'm willing to do that for him.
Yep.
So.
Yep. All right. We'll look and see in your file. There is some financing options that we have. So that's definitely a possibility.
Okay.
But yes, subscribe to the podcast too if you haven't done that already. Have you?
Okay, cool. Is that, when you say podcast, is that like on Instagram, or is it something different?
So there's a bunch of different ways that you can watch it, or you can subscribe to it. Hold on, I'm going to click this thing right here.
Yeah, I'm taking notes on this.
So there's a link in here. Is this it? Is this the right one? No, it's the wrong one. Hold on, let me get it. We have like a specific like a little link tree. Here it is. Good, I got it. Okay. So let me show you this. I give away like literally the farm on here. And you want to know why I give away the farm? Because no one ever takes any doggone action on it.
Mm.
Let me just get this up. All right. So there's that. So there's this link. So you can listen on Apple Podcasts. You can start at the beginning, move to the front. You can do Spotify. You can do YouTube. It's on Facebook. It's on Google. It's on Podtappin. I mean, there's so many things that we're on. It's on Owltail.
Great.
I don't even know what these
I'm
things
not
are.
quite seeing it too easily.
It's okay. We'll send you the link. But I don't know if you
Okay.
listen to podcasts or if YouTube is more your
I'm
jam.
totally like I've been my mother's caregiver, but she's in the hospital right now, and
Sorry to hear that.
she's gonna have to go to rehab. So I have some opening in my schedule to just really like start putting my energy into my dad's journey this next month. And I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen to these podcasts, and I'm gonna take notes, and I'm gonna really do my best.
Yep, and just
Thank you so much.
put it into practice. Put it into practice. Thanks, Nuna. Sorry to hear about your mom. I hope she makes it through. Okay. Well, good session today, guys. Enjoyed it. If there's any final questions, feel free to throw the. Oh, Alistair, you had one, huh? I'm sorry, I forgot. Go ahead. You're now unmuted.
Hey,
Hey.
how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Hello, everybody. Yeah, just from start to finish. I mean, if I was to say, yeah, right, because I do like the idea of this whole thing, and I have spoken to you on the phone,
Mhm.
and I have been in another demo.
Okay.
But from start to finish, how long does it take to get going? Because I got a ton of art, and I just got to get going. I mean, I have sold art. I've had a few exhibitions, but
Mhm.
I've never really pushed it because, like, I've been one of these people. You got to pay the mortgage and you got to go to work.
Yeah.
But right now, I've had a little bit of free time, and I just want to get going on this because I'm a kind of guy that, you know, puts 150% into anything I do. So from start to finish, like if I was to say, right, because I want to get that sale, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, the sale.
Yeah.
And I know it's late in the day for that, but it still would be kind of cool if I could get it. Or I could, you know, hey, I'll join up if you give me the sale, you know, so on. So what's the timeline for these kind of things?
Yeah, I mean, there's no crystal ball, right? Because everyone sort of takes a different path. Like some people have success right out of the gate, some people it takes a little bit longer, and then everything in between. I think like if you're committed and you want to do it, the score takes care of itself as long as you're focused on the right things, right? And we'll make sure you're focused on the right things. We're going to get you launched. We're going to get your website up. We're going to get you working on the marketing, and you're going to have enough time to start doing marketing between now and Q4, which will probably be when your biggest sales take place, right? Because the holiday buying season is when it happens. So, I mean, you understand what the alternative is, right? You're never going to do it. You're never going to do
that's it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that's just really what it
So
comes down to.
You know, I'm not one of these people that just, you know, I've already decided I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for a timeline kind of idea, because I do. I mean, I have an ultimatum, which is to go back to welding and fabrication,
Mhm.
which I don't really want to do. And so my timeline is that if I do this, then that's going to stop me from doing that. And I'm glad because that is getting harmful to my health at my age. So I'm moving on to different pastures, right?
Mhm.
Greener pastures. So, you know, I'd like to, it is about time for me.
Yeah.
Because if I don't do this, then I got to go back to work. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
This is my shot.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that. I mean, there's you know, it's a crystal ball question, right? Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
asking your financial advisor how much money you're going to have for retirement. It's like, well, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the markets. So I can't say definitively, and anyone that would try to tell you definitively is completely full of it and run and hide if they tell you, oh, well, you'll do this by this and this and that. But you got to get started, right? And if you don't get started, you're never going to get there. And what I can tell you is, you know, we have as many aces up the sleeve as we can ram in there, right? If you work the program and you stick to it, you're going to be successful. Like it's just a game of pressure over time if you're working on the right stuff. And if you've already sold your art before, you just have a marketing problem. We just need to fix that, and that's that, right? But you got to start putting in the work on a daily basis. So we can teach you, we can get you going. There's still time on the sale, so don't worry about that. It doesn't end till tomorrow. So as long as you get your thing in, they'll call you back. But you know, my worry is I don't like this thought process where it's like, okay, you know, I don't want to go back to work. This has got to take over. This has got to start producing income right away, right? Because I don't want you setting unreasonable expectations or desires or demands and then counting on something that's not there yet, right? It's like you got to be the monkey in the tree where you don't let go of the one branch until you get a hold of the other one, right? So I would just say that generally speaking, you know, but you got to get going. You got to get going. And if there is a time of year, this is literally the best time of year. And I would say that only this time of year, every single solitaire year, because no joke, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the sales that, you know, and it used to be Black Friday was actually like the day after Thanksgiving, and Cyber Monday was actually the Cyber Monday. And they still are technically. But now in a race to get to the money before everyone else, everyone just keeps moving the sales up and moving the sales up. And now it starts at like October, right? Like the first sales are in the water October. And then the minute it turns over to November, they're in the water too. So all of those sales are tremendous, tremendous times. I personally am an eternal optimist, but I think this year potentially could be the biggest one yet. Last year was a tremendous one because everyone at home, not going back to work, which is usually this more or less the same thing, right? Like not that many people are going back into offices. So anything in the home decor category is still in its heyday, right? That's everything from redoing your house, putting a swimming pool in the backyard, office supplies, streaming equipment, anything home decor, right? Like it had the biggest year ever last year because of the result of COVID. So if we get into winter and this Delta variant keeps everyone at home, there's nowhere to buy art except online. There's no one to buy art from except the artist directly, right? You know, find the online galleries, but nobody goes to those things anyway. So it could just be a tremendous, tremendous opportunity this particular year, right? And I hope I'm coming across genuine saying that, because I don't give a damn if you sign up or if you don't. What I care is that you actually get something in the water this Black Friday, Cyber Monday, this Q4, right? Because I think it's going to be that tremendous, and I'm not kidding. All the signs are there. It'll be tremendous no matter what. If we get into some sort of a damn lockdown situation again, then it's just going to be even more so, because all of the traditional places to buy art, the show and thayer circuit, or the online, or the galleries, the physical retail galleries, things in the mall, all of that's going to be closed. No one's going to be going into it, right? So record high demand, less places to purchase it. So in terms of timing, I think you're on it. I think it's very, very good. So, you know, you now is the time. Now is the time.
So will you get in touch with me?
Yeah. If I'm sure we have your information. We'll reach out. One less thing to have to do.
All right. That's cool.
Where are you from originally, by the way?
Well, Scotland.
Really? Whereabouts in Scotland?
A long time ago.
Yeah. Where
I've been everywhere. France, Germany, Ireland.
Amazing. Yeah. Whereabouts in Scotland?
I ended up here.
Whereabouts?
Green card marriage.
Got it.
Prisoner.
Yeah.
Prisoner of the United States.
Yeah.
No, I'm very happy. But
yeah.
Whereabouts in Scotland? It was the borders near Edinburgh.
Nice. So my grandfather was born in Cowdenbeath.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that is one tough Scottish mining town. And it produces very tough youngsters, let me tell you. Yeah.
There's no more mining in Scotland, sadly.
Yeah.
No, little.
Yeah, that ship's still. But anyway, yeah, good meeting you, Alistair. Love it. We'll have somebody reach out, and you owe it to yourself to do it now, whether you sign up or not. You got it. Yeah. You got to do it. Yep. You got to do it. So, all right, we'll reach out. What else? Oh yeah, so people are just asking what the sale is. We ran a huge sale this month. It ends tomorrow, which is the last day of the month. Our sales team can tell you what all they have in there. I just ignore what the percentages are because I got enough going on when I play with marketing. But it's several $1,000s off and some extension of the plan. So it is a good time to get started, I would say. Like, look, if you just discovered us today for the first time, don't worry. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be around, okay? But if what you heard today, and especially that pyramid, and especially the perspective, all of that resonates, definitely get the demo, definitely take the test drive, and at least have that data point, understand what all it is that we do. And then you can decide just to follow us on social media and contemplate a different time, or, you know, if you want to go all in and get signed up. But I'm not kidding about the timing. And like, look, I'm historically on the record. You can go back and audit our social media accounts for the last 5 years that I've been doing this, and every single solitary year, this time of year, we bang the drum. And the beauty of what I do is, here I am marketing, right, to you guys and trying to get new customers to sign up, but I'm getting a 2-for-1 because, again, I have to poke and prod and bang the drum for my customers incessantly too, because you constantly need to be encouraged to do more and more and more marketing. And so, you know, this is streaming everywhere, and I see some of my customers, and like every time they hear us talk about it, it's like, we are unified as a company got to get ready for Q4, got to get ready for Q4, got to get ready for Q4, right? And, you know, the analogy is it's the marathon. It's the one big marathon that you have coming up right now. And if you had a marathon coming up, what would you start doing right now? You would probably be going out for like that 1 mile, 3 mile, 5 mile run to start getting ready, right? That's what it is. Like, you got to start doing it now. And like, look, I get it. If Art Storefronts isn't in the plans for you, set yourself a challenge to post on social 3 times a week and email your list. I don't care if your list only has your mother, your brother, your sister, your family, and friends on it. Still email them and let them know a sale's coming around the holidays. Like, let these people know that you have art. It's going to be for sale. That's just a huge part of it. So, all right. That's what I got. Any final questions? Okay. Good session today, guys. Enjoyed it. Going to be doing a ton of lives. So you'll see me on Instagram or Facebook. I call these things AMAs, Ask Me Anything. So if you see those and, you know, you have questions about anything and you're following on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, feel free to pop in, ask a question, say hi anytime. Love to see you guys. But thanks, everybody, and have a great day.